Hey Esk8.builders, thanks for tuning into another video. A week ago or so we published one about a DIY build. It was a tramper electric skateboard and everyone seemed to like it, so we're going to do another one today. Hopefully you'll like this as well, and hopefully it will give you some inspiration so you go out and build your own really awesome high-powered electric skateboard and yeah, just get your hands dirty. I mean, that's part of the fun as well, isn't it, right? I mean, it's when the weather's no good and you just want to get involved in the hobby. Building is one way to do it, you know, because you can't ride every day. So let's check it out. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen this website before, it's a forum for electric skateboard builders, and in it there's a category called Esk8.builders, and this is the best place to go for inspiration. If you're not sure what to build or how to do it, you come in here and check it out. Now I'm going to choose one here and do the review on it. So, okay, this guy, White Pony, White Pony, I think you're in Germany. I could be wrong. I should probably check these facts. But anyway, this guy is like one of the best builders getting around. His attention to detail is on another planet. He's renowned for wrapping things in carbon fiber, making amazing enclosures, awesome batteries, you name it. This build, it's a carbon jet spud with freeboard bindings, a single VESC, and 10S 3P. So this is a little bit of an older build. So, but yeah, everything's still pretty high end. It looks like he's trying to do a little bit more of a lightweight build. You can tell that because of the 10S 3P. Batteries are one of the heaviest parts on electric skateboards. And if you put a really big battery on there, it's going to make it heavy, and that probably means your freeboard bindings are not going to make that much sense. I get the feeling he probably wants to do some like jumps and some stuff like this. But let's get into it, guys. Let's see what this guy's been doing. He's starting off with some pictures here. He may have sanded that deck back. The jet spud, I don't think it's blank like that, so he probably sanded that back. You can see he's got some Ronin trucks on here, very popular truck for downhill longboarding. He's already marking out his lines here, so he's obviously going to cut into this deck by the looks of it. And this guy, this is just a dude in his garage. He's not a deck builder or a factory or anything, so he's just using common tools. You can see here he's got a little router and he's setting up his straight edge here so he can basically route perfectly along his lines here, which you can see he's done a very good job of there. And he doesn't actually show how he takes the rest out, but I suppose he probably does that with the router and just keeps going back and forth, and perhaps you need a chisel as well to get it nice and clean in there. Actually, this is probably a bit of a giveaway. You can see some of these little tool marks, so it looks like he has used the router to take out all that material. And I think you've got to be careful doing this because not all decks are going to be made strong enough to do this, but I got a feeling he's going to wrap this in carbon fiber. If you weren't going to do that, that probably wouldn't be strong enough. You'd notice the deck would probably snap or be really bendy. So I've got a feeling we're going to see some pretty cool stuff going down here. He's using, just to get these nice round edges, he's using just things that he's got laying around, which is often the best way to do it. You know, you use the tools that you have available to get the job done. I assume he's putting in threaded nuts, I'd say. In all of these little holes around here, there'd be threaded nuts so he can screw his lid on. There you go. Yeah, so you can see just in that picture there, he's got M4 nuts. You can buy those things on Amazon or whatever, eBay, and you just basically hammer them in. sometimes, depending the design of them, you actually need to insert them from the top of the deck so that they don't pull through. But there's all different kinds of nut inserts that you can get, so you need to check that out. He didn't want the resin to fill the threads of the M4 inserts, so he's actually put some screws into the top of the threaded nut to prevent the epoxy from going in there. So he's obviously going to wrap this beast. Here we go. He's got a vacuum bag. I don't think they're expensive. You just buy this bag. You do need a vacuum though, because you actually put the board in the bag with your layers of carbon fiber. You can see he's prepping it here. You wrap it around the deck. Yeah, here's a good picture. You wrap all the layers around your deck. Let me just scroll back up. All these layers of carbon fiber. You paint on the epoxy, which is like, you know, a glue that you mix up that seeps into this material, right? This carbon fiber material. Then when you put it into the bag and suck all the air out, it compresses it and it forces the epoxy into the carbon fiber layers, and that's how you get it to be strong. You can see there's a little tube here, and that would be running either to a pump, a special pump, or a vacuum. And you can see what he's doing here. This is the bottom side of the deck where that cutout is. You can just slightly make it. What he's using here is a hard piece of material, some wood, and he's pushing it into the bag, into the edge here, because he wants the carbon fiber to make a nice sharp edge, because you don't really, like, you can sort of see here, it actually didn't end up that sharp, but that's really one of the trickiest things to do. If you don't have a mold that fits in here exactly, because that's one thing you could do. You could make a negative version, or a positive, I don't know what the correct one is, but you could make a mold basically that's exactly the opposite of this cutout, and you could push it into here, and that would give you a better result. It looks like he's doing it just manually though, and look, most people wouldn't be able to create a perfect opposite version of that. It would take a lot of effort. So once again, he's just using what he has. He's just checking that the batteries are going to fit in there. I think he already knows that they are, because he's already measured that up. 24 hours to cure. You can see that's in a bag there. Looks like that's been some of the inspiration for this build. Very similar deck, if not the same deck. Okay, here we go. Look at that thing. It's come out of the bag. It looks pretty clean straight away. I mean, it's a really clean job. This guy, over the years doing his carbon fiber wrap decks, has become quite an expert at it. And you can see, because that is super clean. Normally you would expect it to be a bit messy, or, you know, drips or marks or dints or something like that, but he's done a great job. He's saying there's white pimples on the carbon. These are the tiny holes of the bleeder layer. So there must be another layer. I don't know the exact process, but there must be another layer in the bag there which is designed to get a better result, and it's just leaving a little mark on there. But you can sand that out. That's not a problem when you do this. You can sand it, and then you can paint on another coating of epoxy material. Okay, that's the top side. I didn't realize, but he's only wrapped around the bottom. That's interesting. Surely he's going to put another layer on the top there. Scrolling through, lots of good pictures there of the bottom. There's I'm actually on here commenting. There we go. Measuring up the bindings. Measuring the deck weight. He's saying here he won't add another layer on top. He's saying it's stiff enough already. Okay, looks cool. Looks nice with those Ronin trucks, the Kegel wheels. He's just pairing it up. I'm not a big fan of this deck because it doesn't have the kicktail. I'm probably more of a fan of that. That's a loaded Tesseract, I think. Yeah, what's he saying? He might actually say that. But yeah, I like that one in the middle a bit better. Probably the good thing with this, though, with the bindings, it's just super maneuverable. Okay, let's find some more pictures here. What's he got? Looks like he's going to start making the enclosure. Okay, so he's taken a piece of wood, by the looks of it, sanded it, cut it to the right size, sanded it so it's got the round edges. So this basically represents the electronic components, the battery, the ESC or the VESC that he'll be using, and he's once again used the same methods to mold carbon fiber over the top of it. And it looks like he's got the deck there as well. So he's actually using the deck to create part of the mold and the wooden piece on top here. And then he vacuum bags it all together. And you can see it sucking it down into this little cavity here. And that's exactly what he wants because he's going to cut it. Let's scroll down a bit further. This is what we want to see. Look at that transition between the deck surface and his enclosure here. A little bit of those creases you can still see there. I don't know how you'd get rid of them, but that overall looks super neat. And he's obviously made sure all the holes line up before drilling through it there. Super slim as well. By cutting out that little slotted area for the batteries and stuff, it just makes the overall thickness just a little bit slimmer. We did that with the Raptor 2, and it's actually a nightmare in mass production to cut into wood like that because wood never is the same shape. Things come out of the mold and there's always variations. So doing this like one at a time at home, you can adapt to that, but doing it on scale, much harder. Okay, here's a mock-up of his electronics. So he's going 2 VESCs by the looks. A row of 15, another row of 15. That's 10 in series, 3 in parallel. So each cell, each 3 here is a group, and then another 3 is a group. So he's gonna weld all these together. Looks like he's gonna route again to put the wires in, similar to Long-Haired Boy. He's saying here, Long-Haired Boy is famous for routing a channel and feeding the wires through it. So there we go, look at that. Definitely just a single build. If it was 2 motors, he would have to have 6 of these wires because it's just running off to one side. He'd have to have another set running out to the second motor. So this board is definitely only a single motor build, and yeah, he's punched it through there. This would be super fiddly. My phone won't stop buzzing. Go over there, phone. Okay, this is a cool idea. It's just showing you how he's holding the bullet connector. He's holding his 12 AWG silicon insulated high strand count copper wire for your motors. He's holding it in position before he solders. Now this is a really good thing to get good at, guys. If you're building electric skateboards, you want to get good solder joints there, especially if you're epoxying it into a deck. You can't get to that later, so you really want to get that really good. And the way you do it is you heat up both parts really well with the tip of your soldering iron. A good quality soldering iron is very, very important. Otherwise, you'll waste too much time here. And you can see really nice solder joint there. No funny surface cracks or spikes. It's just a nice solder joint. And he's done all three of them there. That's a strong solder joint there. That's how it should look. A little bit of insulation around it. Now, the reason he's doing that is carbon fiber is a conductive material. So if he didn't insulate this well, it looks like he's double insulated it maybe, or he's just using really thick, very thick shrink tube. Yeah, that's what he's saying there, with glue inside. Okay, you can buy shrink tube that has like a hot glue on the inside. So when you heat the shrink tube up, it shrinks around whatever you're shrinking, in this case the bullet connectors, but the glue melts. He's had to hammer them in, so it's a super tight fit. Probably doesn't matter how tight that is. You could epoxy, you put a whole bunch of epoxy on the top there and it's going to hold them pretty well. Okay, he's not using resin. He's just using putty. Yeah, he didn't feel like it. He said he couldn't be bothered waiting for 24 hours. So he's just put putty in there, which is an interesting, it's much easier to work with. You just put it in and sand it back. He's got his vicious grip. And that's it. Look at that thing. Very nice with the carbon fiber. Super slim. Super slim. You can't even tell that that's got an enclosure on it, really. His shoes. Okay, so the bindings are on. You can see the wheelbase. It's pretty short, right? Okay, looks like he's going to build the battery. This is going to be interesting. So he's got, I think he said that, yeah, they're LG HG2 cells along a little bit now. Most people would use Samsung 30Qs in a build like this now for 10S3P. But so he's got all of his nickel strips cut to size 10 by 0.15, so 10 millimeters. That's the width this way. 0.15 millimeter is the thickness of it. He's pre-soldering it. He obviously doesn't have a spot welder. He's going to solder these strips on, which is quite a different technique. A lot of people these days would use, oh no, hold on, what's this? He's made his own spot welder. You can see his foot's on it. That's like a switch, so he can actually activate his spot welder. That's right, he did a build thread about this actually. And see those little dimples there? Basically what he's got is on the end of this wire, there'd be like a copper, I think it's I forget what they're called, an anode or something like that. But basically you push it down on here, current runs through it and out the other side, and it creates a world between the battery, the little bit of metal that's on the end of the battery, and the nickel strip. So he's got them all joined up, little groups of 3 there. It's hard to see in that picture. Here we go. So what he's done is put 2 strips of 15 cells down on the table side by side, and he's welded them on. You can see there's 3 here. There's a gap between the next group of 6, but there's 3 here and 3 here. What he's going to do is fold that together. It's a really smart way of doing the build. It's nice and simple for at home when you're welding all this together. Having it in a group like this and then just folding it out is nice and straightforward. On the other side, what's he got here? This is what that solder was on the strips. He's got a braided copper flat wire here. Now, the reason I believe he's doing that is just to get a little bit more copper, essentially, more thickness for the current to run through. I think that's why he's doing it. I mean, you don't have to do that. You could just double up your nickel strips or triple up your nickel strips. I don't know why he's done that. Maybe his welder doesn't go through multiple layers that well, and this is just an alternative that he's found that works really well. I'm not sure what... It looks like he's just using normal packing tape here. Sometimes when you see people build batteries, they will use special kinds of tape. You can get tape that has fiberglass strands running through it, and you can tell that because it's got white stripes down it. And the main difference is that the fiberglass strands, it prevents the tape from stretching. So it's a bit better for wrapping stuff up if you don't want the tape to stretch and therefore allowing the cells to move. So either way, in this case, I don't think the cells are going to move around that much. They're welded together on that end, soldered that end, taped up, and then it's also wrapped in a big piece of shrink tube. So I think that's certainly a sufficient way of doing it, but you will see variations of this depending whose build you look at. Very creative. Okay, so that's pretty much the build there without the motors. By the looks of it, it's looking very neat. I wonder if he's going to put the motor on. He's wrapped his battery in 2mm thick felt. Cool. That will just dampen any vibrations inside this case, make it fit in there a bit tighter. He's actually got, looks like one of the old inertian R-spec motors has gone on there. Very nice. And he's got, you can see he's actually using wedges under his base plates here. Now, the reason he probably did that is just to slightly alter the amount of tilt that he gets in the truck when he leans. So it's just a little way of customizing it to your own riding style. Certainly worth trying it if you want to get a very well refined handling on your board. Definitely consider that, but not essential. And it looks, yeah, he's got, that's actually an inertian motor mount as well, carbon fiber bracket. I recognize that. We don't sell them anymore, but looks like he's slightly modified this Esk. He's got a piece of felt here under there, because just remember, carbon fiber is a conductive material. If any of these parts, especially these two, touch the carbon fiber, it will short out instantly and probably cause a fire and blow up all your stuff. Definitely. Okay, looks like he's going to change his motor mount. This is an adapter ring. I don't know whose motor mount he's going to be using here. Look at this, his charging port. Glued into the enclosure with resin. So this is his on-off switch, basically. He puts a little loop key in there to open or close the circuit, but he's also saying it's for charging as well. That's pretty cool. So it's multifunctional. I don't know if he's going to have a drawing showing how that works. This is actually one of his other boards. He's just saying how he made the switch. Sugru, or however you say that. That's how he's sealed in the components on the inside of his enclosure there. You could probably use hot glue and it would have a similar result. I'm not sure. I've never used this Sugru stuff. That's what you can do with it, guys. If you want to see why he's putting bindings on it, look at this. This is OKP in France, his video, but when you put those bindings on your board, you can literally jump up over things and do crazy stuff. Check out all those videos. Subscribe to OKP's videos there. He's got some awesome riding videos on his channel. Anyway, guys, there you have it. You've got a nice little lightweight, short wheelbase build with bindings, so you can do aerial tricks, launch off gutters, do 360 spins, 180 spins, whatever you want to do. 80 mil wheels, so yeah, it's a nice little single motor cruiser, lightweight and very well crafted. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration of what you can do at home. This guy is not like a shop or anything. He's not trained with or has special tools. He's just loves it and loves making awesome electric skateboards. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on another episode. See you later.